Did you know the FBI believes there are as many as 25 serial killers active at any given time? However, the Murder Accountability Project believes that number to be closer to 2,000. Welcome. I'm Jay.
I'm T.
We are Fatal Blend.
This is where we talk about two things we absolutely love. A little bit of coffee and a lot of true crime. Specifically, serial killers.
Well. Here we are again.
We are. So, anything you want to say?
I ain't got much. Besides, the world's going to shit.
Okay.
I think we all knew that. No, I was talking about what recently happened in the mall near us. People ruining. I mean, this is going to come out way after Halloween, but it's a recording not too long after Halloween. Yeah, it just got crazy in the mall around us. People ruining a good time for other people. But out of the smoke.
There was quite a lot of shootings that popped up in the world on Halloween. Specifically, though, I very rarely watch news, but for some reason it popped up. There was like multiple shootings between Washington and Oregon, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because it's my biggest fear. And I told this to Jay recently, is my biggest fear has always been, I don't go into haunted houses. I'm completely against haunted houses. My reasoning is I'm a fucking scaredy cat. That's just a given. But I have always, in my entire life, I have never wanted to go into a haunted house because I am afraid that one of the people who is dressed up, like with the chainsaws or the axes or whatever, are really like a killer, and they're gonna use a haunted house as like their way to kill people. This is why I love true crime, because that's been me since I was a child.
Never heard that, but there always could be a day. I get it.
No, you're right. You're right. You've never heard that, but in my mind, my fear is that guy chasing you with a chainsaw, and I've been told, oh, they're not real. There's no chain on it. He's going to put a chain on it because he's actually a killer and he just wants to slaughter a shit ton of people on Halloween, and nobody would know differently. Because you're getting you hear the screams, you see the blood, you see all kinds of stuff. Everybody just chalks it up as being a Halloween thing. But in reality, he's fucking killing people.
But like I said, out of the smoke comes some light. And due to recent events, a lot of kids' Halloweens got ruined. So a group of people came together and had a very large spur-of-the-moment trunk or treat and invited all the people after Halloween that had their Halloweens ruined to come and enjoy. And it was a really cool event. Police showed up, supported, gave out candy, made sure everything was copacetic, SWAT, everything. So it was real cool to see the community come together in the face of diversity and prevail. So, like I said, shitty days, world's going to shit, but there's still some good things out there.
Yeah.
So, and seeing on the news, all these people, a lot of people can't come to the door, so they leave bowls of candy out. And there are kids out there that go and just empty the bowl of candy into their bag instead of sharing it with everybody else. And there's a video floating around of a group of kids who did that. And one of the kids came back, found a bowl, because one of the kids took the bowl, found a different bowl, put it back on the counter, picked up some of the candy that spilled, and then emptied out half of his backpack into the candy bowl for other kids to enjoy. So shows there's still good people out there.
But my view on the candy thing, honestly, okay, when I was a kid and we trick-or-treated, I never took handfuls of candies from somebody's house. Like, I just never did, because I just thought it was rude. However, if that's the least of what these kids are doing, is stealing all the candy, what are you going to do about it? The ones that get me are the videos I actually saw on TikTok when people put their Ring cameras up, and it's parents taking all the candy for their kids. That's what gets me. I can understand a teenager. I can understand a young, middle school aged kid. I can't understand how a parent will walk up and start filling their child's Halloween basket full of candies from somebody's neighbor, somebody in the neighborhood's house, and emptying like literally taking all. I don't understand that, because it's like, your kid's not the only kid in the neighborhood. Put the fucking candy back and let other people enjoy. In our house specifically, we had quite a few trick-or-treaters. We don't typically open our door because our dogs are psychos. So we just kind of trust the process. And normally it goes pretty well. This year we did actually, at the end of the night, we had like 5 or 6 teenage boys who decided they were going to take all of our fucking candy. And one of the kids ran. Like, they run like they think they're going to get like chased away. Like, fucking, okay, it's candy, bro. And then another kid came back and grabbed a bunch more. And to be honest with you, I didn't give 2 shits because I didn't want the candy left over in my house anyway. So good on you guys. Like, have at it. So, whatever.
If it was our kid, yes. If that's the worst they're doing, okay. But I'll tell you this much. If it was one of our kids and we got a video of them emptying out a candy bowl, you better believe they'd be giving all their candy away.
I mean, obviously, because we're fucking good parents and we want our kids to grow up to be normal ass people.
Yup.
Which, by the way, they did. Both of our kids are fucking...
normalish.
They're way fucking more normal than I was growing up. And they definitely are some of the most well-behaved kids. And to this day, and I'm not fucking ashamed of it, my 24-year-old daughter, my 21-year-old son are both still fucking afraid to piss me off. So, that's how you do it. That's how you do parenting.
And your 44-year-old husband. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and get into who we're talking about today. Actually, let's get into what you're drinking today.
Yeah, it's a little different. I decided to do a black tea with a little tiny bit of honey that I can't even taste, so I didn't put very much in there.
And I did a black tea with a lot of honey, a.k.a. for me, sugar.
We gotta get you on like some agave.
Not a lot, though. Not a lot. I definitely did less sugar this time around, and there are times where I do honey. Just depends on what I'm feeling.
Have you ever had agave?
Yeah.
That's what you should do, is agave.
Agave's and tequila.
I don't give a shit if agave's in. You act like you drink a lot. I'm asking seriously, like straight up agave syrup. You should try that.
Yeah, I think
it's
I've
sweet
had it.
And it will fall into the whole food thing that we'd be trying to do.
Probably. But speaking about falling, I don't know if it ties into our killer or not.
No, it doesn't.
Well, speaking of killers, haha, who are we talking about today?
We're talking about Danny Rolling, and I'm going to give you a little sneak peek here. The fact that you brought up Halloween in the beginning of this, and then the fact that I talked about the masked people murdering ties very well into this.
Well, no, it's like it was meant to be.
It is. So we're going to talk about Danny Rolling. His nickname is the Gainesville Ripper. Also, he was known as John R. Kennedy. I shit you not. I read that like 800 times, kept looking at it going, is it JFK? Is it John F. Kennedy? No, it's John R. Kennedy. He has 8 victims. His dates of murder are November 4th, 1989 to August 27th, 1990. The location is Louisiana and Florida. His method of murder is stabbing. Now, some characteristics of his murder are rape, necrophilia, mutilation, and decapitation, which leads me to this. This episode can and will get pretty graphic and does deal with rape and necrophilia. So please be aware of this. And if this is not your thing and you are uncomfortable, we will never hold it against you to skip this, and we'll catch you next week with a different story.
But if you're going to hang out,
welcome.
Welcome.
So we're going to talk about his background. Let's get into it. He was born, so Danny Rolling was born May 26th, 1954 to James Rolling and Claudia Beatrice Rolling. Now, his father, James, was actually a Korean War vet. He was a Shreveport police officer. He was also abusive as fuck to his wife and his 2 sons. He would abuse them for the most fucking ridiculous things, like breathing in a way he didn't like. He also told his sons daily that they were unwanted since birth.
No, that's nice.
In one instance, James actually pinned Danny on the ground, handcuffed him, and then had him taken away by the police because he was embarrassed by him. And then in another...
I didn't know the police would do that.
Well, he was a police officer.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, of course, the police would do that. So here's just another... This is what's going to really hone in how absolutely awesome James was as a father. Okay?
Hone away.
He decided Danny, who loved they had a dog, and it was their family dog, and he loved this dog. He decided that he was just going to beat the fucking shit out of the dog repeatedly until it died in Danny's arms.
Well, that guy needs to die.
I told you it tells you exactly how fucking awesome he is, right?
Yeah.
Now, his wife, Claudia, she tried to leave him multiple times, but she always ended up going back to him as abuse victims do, right? Danny and his brother had a seriously fucked up childhood, obviously. And as Danny gets older, he decides he's going to venture into a life of crime because why the fuck not? Why the fuck not?
Yeah, when your dad's a piece of shit, why wouldn't you?
Right. He ends up committing multiple robberies, and he also gets arrested multiple times for a lot of these robberies. He also gets caught watching a cheerleader get dressed at one point. Now, when he becomes an adult, he has problems holding down a steady job. And he also is having a hard time fitting in with other people, mainly like all of fucking society, because he got a fucked up childhood.
Yeah.
Now, in 1972, he gets kicked out of the Air Force. So he joins the Air Force. Shortly after, he gets kicked out for possession of drugs. He does actually get married, and he does have a child. However, this ends because he decides that he's going to be just like his dad.
And beat the shit.
An abusive piece of shit. Yeah. Now, after his divorce, he actually ends up raping a woman who resembled his ex-wife. And he engages in several different more robberies. And he does get caught in 1979, where he actually goes to prison in Jackson, Georgia. Now, during the 1980s, he's pretty much in and out of jail for robbery between Alabama all the way to Mississippi multiple times. In the times that he's not in jail, he's actually out continuing to steal, and he continues to rape women. So this is just kind of what he starts doing in the 80s. So then in May of 1990, he's visiting with his family, his mom and his dad. Him and his dad get into an argument, and he shoots his father in the stomach and in his face. I say, what the fuck ever. I'm not even gonna lie right now.
A little bit of redemption.
Like when I read that, I was kind of like, meh, like, oh well.
You got what
like,
you deserve.
I don't know what to tell you, buddy. So now his dad survives, actually, because he was trying to kill his father. He was unsuccessful, but his father does lose his eye and an ear, which in all honesty, I feel is almost better than killing him, because now he has to live eyeless and earless, which I think is fucking great. Because now every day you have to remember that your son that you decided to abuse his entire fucking life is the reason why you can't see and hear properly.
Yep. So you go from being a police officer to a pirate.
Something like that. So then, okay, this brings us to November 4th, 1989. Before I get into the murders, please pay attention to them. And I want you to tell me if you feel that you've heard these before or if they're reminiscent of anything. And it's okay if not, to be fair. It's okay because I didn't realize it either. But two things have come to my mind when I was doing this. But I'm just going to, here we are.
All right.
So on November 4th, 1989, in Shreveport, Louisiana, Danny is fired from his job at a local restaurant. And that night, he breaks into a home and he murders Julie Grissom, who's 24, Sean, who's 8, which is Julie's nephew, and Tom, who's 55, and that's Julie's father. Now, Julie is found with bite marks on her body, and her body was arranged with her legs spread open on the bed. So, clearly, he has an issue. August 1990, Danny actually does a string of murders that through all of August, okay, that became known as the Gainesville murders, okay? So on August 24th, 1990, Danny breaks into an apartment that is shared by two University of Florida freshmen, Sonia Larson, who's 18, and Christina Powell, who's 17. Now, when he walks into the house, he sees Christina and she's sleeping on the couch, and he actually stands over her for like a hot fucking minute and stares at her and decides, I'm going to go upstairs first. So he goes upstairs, he finds Sonia, he tapes her mouth shut, stabs her to death, and then he proceeds back down the stairs, tapes Christina's mouth shut, binds her wrists behind her back, rapes her. He then stabs her 5 times in the back, killing her. He then returns upstairs where he rapes the corpse of Sonia, and he poses both bodies in sexual positions. He takes a shower and leaves their apartment. Then on August 25th, so the next day, he breaks into the home of Krista Hoyt. She's an 18-year-old college student from Santa Fe College. Now he discovers that she's actually not home when he gets there, so he fucking waits for her.
Of course he does.
So at 11 a.m., she returns home and he grabs her and like puts her in a chokehold. He tapes her mouth shut and binds her wrists and he rapes her. He stabs her in her back, which ruptures her aorta. And then he turns her over and cuts her open from pubic bone to breastbone. He leaves. Upon leaving, he discovers that he's missing his wallet. And so he's like, fuck, I might have left that shit at Krista's house. So he goes back. And when he goes back, he actually decides this is the opportunity to go ahead and decapitate Krista. So then he takes her body and poses her in a sitting position on the edge of her bed, and then takes her head, puts it on the shelf that's facing the body.
Fucking creepy, dude.
So like at this point, students are now very worried. They start to be very vigilant. They sleep in groups. They don't go anywhere alone. Some of them even drop out of college because this is 2 different colleges that somebody's going in and slaughtering, stabbing, slashing, killing these girls. So on August 27th of 1990, so this is the following day or 2 days later, Danny breaks into the home of Tracy Paulus, who's 23, and Manny Taboda, who's 23. Now, Danny finds Manny in his room and he quickly kills him, but like they fight, but like Danny wins.
Yeah.
And he kills him. Now, Tracy actually hears what's going on. So she goes to go find out what the fuck's going on. And she actually ends up seeing Danny standing over Manny's body. So she runs back to her room and she tries to barricade herself in her room. He breaks into the room. He tapes her mouth shut, binds her wrists, rapes her, stabs her 3 times in the back. Then he poses her body, but he left Manny's body completely like dead, like how it was.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't give a shit about the dudes.
Right. Now, police don't have very many suspects or ideas on what the fuck's going on. However, they do have a couple of people that they are actually interested in. One of them is actually a man named Edward Lewis Humphreys. He's 20 years old and he's a student at the University of Florida. He has a history of mental illness and he had actually previously been convicted of felony assault against his grandmother. And he was held in custody for 5 months. But at one point, a grand jury came out and was like, we're not going to fucking indict him on these murders because there's nothing that really puts him there other than the fact that he's a student and that he has a history of some mental illness and like assaulting his grandmother. That's that. They do have one other suspect. That man is also cleared of charges. And so they're kind of sort of like, shit, we've got these college students again. College students are getting killed in their homes or their whatever, not their dorms, but their homes, their apartments by stabbing, slashing, killing. They're being raped. Something's not right.
Is this in Idaho?
Okay, so hold on. I'm going to pause. That is, okay, when I first fucking was reading this, that's exactly what I thought. My literal thought, especially the first one, the first murder, because he chose to murder, like go upstairs to murder first and work his way down, which is very Brian Koberger-esque, right? And I actually think what's real creepy is that, well, fuck, I don't want to give anything away. Just hold that thought.
Yeah.
No, by the way, no, that's not why I was asking you that. However, that is what I felt when I first was reading this. And then when I found out it inspired something, these murders inspired something, I was like, okay, I could fucking see it. But I'm sitting here now going, holy shit, the Koberger murders, literally, I think he copied this guy because they said when he first, when everything first happened and it started becoming national, he kept being compared to Ted Bundy. And I was like, what I don't fucking and it's because he was like, didn't have any problems, But now, just wait, I'm wondering, I'll bet you money because he was a criminology major. I wonder if he studied this guy between him, Ted Bundy, and he was like, fucking done. That's what it feels like. And you'll understand more in a little bit. Anyways, so there's a woman named Cindy. Now she actually ends up calling Crime Stoppers with a tip about a man named Danny Rawling. Now, she has explained to them that she met him previously through her church and it was her and her husband. And, they got to know him. He would come over their house every day, hang out with them. And he had actually started to say some pretty disturbing stuff to her and her husband. So at one point, he actually admitted to liking to stick knives into people. He also told her that one day he was going to leave this town and he's going to go where girls are beautiful and that he can just lay in the sun and watch beautiful women all day. So she's telling them, like, listen, he's creepy as fuck.
The second part doesn't scare me because that's like a lot of dudes. But the
Yeah,
first
but to
part,
tell
sticking
that-
knives in people.
Yeah, but it's the way that he says
Yeah.
it, you know, like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing. So they immediately jump on this tip because they're like, okay, cool. Like, this sounds like he could be somebody that maybe we'd be interested in. Well, they also look him up and they realize that, whoa, he's already in jail. So yeah, let's go talk to him. He had actually been arrested on September 7th of 1990 for a robbery of a supermarket. Now, the robbery happened 10 days after Manny and Tracy's bodies were found. And they were able to identify that he had blood type B, which also happened to be the same kind of blood type that was found at all of the crimes from these college crimes, the Gainesville murders. They also find that he has multiple robberies on his record, which happened to connect some of the robberies, like for instance, a robbery that he had done happened to be the same day that Krista Hoyt's body was also discovered. So they're kind of looking around like, hold on. That's a lot of coincidences. Robberies, murders, his blood type matches everything. Let's see. So they end up getting like a search warrant. Okay, I don't know if they got a search warrant. I say that, but he lived in a tent that he camped out like near the college. So I don't know if they actually need a search warrant for it. But they did go and they searched where he was living. And they found a gun, a screwdriver, a bag of money, and a cassette player. And they find tools actually matching the marks that he had left in the Gainesville murders because he would break in through their sliding glass doors. Idaho. That was the other thing.
Yep.
I think that's where they say that Kohberger came in, right? So he would break in through their sliding glass doors. And so, and they found marks. They found marks and tools that would match the marks. Then they decided to listen to the cassette player tapes as well. And after listening to the tapes, they find that these tapes actually allude to the murders. So I don't know what was on the tapes. My guess is it's him describing what he's going to do or something like that. So in November of 1991, he is charged with 5 counts of murder. He does go to trial 4 years later, and he does claim that he did this so that he could be a superstar like Ted Bundy. Do you see where the Ted Bundy, Brian Kohberger, Danny Rawlings thing comes into fucking place?
Ding, ding, ding.
Like
ding.
the fact that this guy wanted to be like Ted Bundy, and then Kohberger is always compared to Ted Bundy, but his murders are very similar to Danny Rawling, whatever. And I'm sitting here going, and you were a criminology major, bro. You most definitely probably at least at some point came across Danny Rawling, and the fact that you were able to commit murders very similar. Because that's the other thing. The knife that he used, I saw pictures, was the same exact fucking type of hunting knife that fucking Kohberger used in Idaho.
Yep.
Like with the sheath and everything. The fucking sheath that they said his fingerprint was on that he got caught. That's what got him fucking busted. That motherfucker looks the same. It's just a different color. So that's just way too coincidental. This whole thing, right? And so anyways, believe me, my fucking brain was like, what the fuck? So there's that. Now in 1994, before his trial starts, he actually pleads guilty to all the charges. Therefore, he doesn't have to go through a jury trial. And they were not expecting that, actually. It was like a surprise. He was like, fine, yeah, I did it. And they were like, what? Huh? So on April 20th, 1994, he's sentenced to death. Now, shortly before his execution, he actually admits to the 3 murders, the very beginning, the 3 murders that were in Shreveport. That was the girl with her father and her nephew. He actually admits to those by writing a letter with an apology attached to it to his spiritual advisor in the prison and gives it to him. On October 25th, 2005, Danny Rawling is executed by lethal injection. His last meal was a lobster tail. He chose to sing a gospel hymn and he made no final statement, and he was pronounced dead at 6:13 p.m. So that's that. Okay. That's where that's at. Now, again, the similarities between Brian Kohberger and the Idaho killings and Danny Rawling and the Florida Gainesville murders are insane. Ted Bundy, I'm he wanted to be a superstar like Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy is a whole thing. The whole thing with Ted Bundy, the whole thing with Ted Bundy that will always be fascinating to me is the fact that Ted Bundy grew up in a normal ass fucking household. He had no abuse. He had nothing. This guy had abuse and shit. I don't know nothing about Kohberger because I don't give a shit to find anything out about him right now because I just don't care. And because, it's just not on my agenda of people to look into, because I am also not going to say that he 100% did it because he hasn't been found guilty. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that points to him doing it, but I would never go into anything about him until it's been proven or whatever. And the whole Idaho thing, just side note real quick, is the most annoying case I've ever come across because they're so fucking secretive. It pisses me off. It makes you believe they're lying.
Yep.
It makes you think that
They're
there's
covering
something not
shit up.
Yeah, and the fact that they tore down the house already so they can't even revisit to try to do anything. It just makes me wonder, like, are you 100% sure you got the right guy? Like, are you 100% sure, or did you just find somebody that you think is the right person and you just want it to case closed? Like, I don't know. It's just too fucking much. But anyways, he wanted to be a superstar like Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was fucking famous because he killed so many women and then escaped like twice or some shit from like when he was doing his trials and shit. Like, there's a lot more to this man than just killing people, but whatever. It is what it is. So, would you like to know the shots on this case?
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
So Danny says that he recalls in his early years that he had actually created different personalities as a defense against his realities. And if I'm being honest, I actually probably believe that because he did have a fucking horrific life. And that is one of the reasons why people that is one of the many reasons that somebody can be diagnosed with multiple personalities is your brain is so fascinating that it can create personalities to handle things that you can't handle. And so there is a very good chance that he really did have different like personalities. Now, his mother actually corroborated that he was abused. And she said that she tried to get him psychological help when he was younger because she could see him changing and being, different. And her husband would never let her. She also stated that she had recognized the moment that Danny changed from being like Danny to like not the son she recognized anymore. And she said that she recognized it to the point where she said that if he was not her son, she would not have even recognized who he was. So he had drastically changed like his attitude and like his views and just like how he was as a person. Now, Danny was not charged with the triple murder in 1989 because he confessed to it before he was put to death. So instead of doing a stay of execution and charging him, they just he admitted to killing him.
They just said, okay, you're already going to die.
You're already going to die anyways. Which kind of sucks for the people, for the family, because you kind of want to see that closure. But at the same time, he admitted to it. So you know what? Him being put to death was the best possible case scenario for you. You just don't get to talk to him and find out what the fuck is why. Like, why would you do this type thing? He also would break into the apartments, like I said before, by prying open the doors, their sliding glass doors with a screwdriver. So he would go up to these college students, and he would go to their sliding glass doors, and he would use a screwdriver to pop open the sliding glass door. PSA: if you have a sliding glass door, put a fucking stick in the fucking door. I don't care if you live on the 3rd floor of the apartment building, put a stick in the track of the door so that when somebody pries open the door, they can't open it. They can't open it if there's a stick there. And so do that to your windows and do that to your doors. Because guess what? That's how they sneak in. If they can't pry it open, they're going to go to another house. They're not going to fucking smash your shit open with a rock because they don't want to wake you up. So put a stick in the door, in the sliding glass doors, and in your windows, lock them, put a stick there. Okay? That is my PSA to anybody, to everybody. Now, it was discovered later that August 5th, 1990, he had actually broken into a woman named Janet Frakes' home in Sarasota, Florida, and he actually taped her mouth and hands as he had done. He raped her, but he actually did not kill her, which is, I don't know why. Other than Manny, all of Danny's victims were petite brunettes with brown eyes.
And he probably just took care of Manny because
Well,
of who he was going after.
Right. But what do we know about people who have like a specific person victim?
It's because somebody who resembles that.
Which would be
his mother.
His mother. His mother was a petite brunette with brown eyes.
Yep.
Now, Danny was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and paraphilia. Here we go. Danny Rawlings. I'm sorry. It's probably Rollings. I know I keep saying Rawlings. It's probably Rollings because it's spelled like roll, like I'm gonna roll a ball, like rolling. But it's just really hard for me to use the fucking term rolling. I don't know why. So I apologize very much so to anybody that it's probably Danny Rolling, but I just fucking suck as a human. So whatever. His murders were the inspiration of a movie. And it's a very well-known movie.
Scream.
Yes, sir. Good job. I didn't know if you were going to get it.
Come on now. Who are you talking to?
Okay, but tell me.
I'm into serial killers, and 2, I'm a freaking movie buff.
I know, but tell me, seriously though, do you see a resemblance between this and Scream?
Absolutely.
Do you?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, you look at like the way I figured it out was like, okay, college, stabbing, and then there's more. Like this is, I kind of pieced it together like that.
Yeah, but to me, like you're right, because when I read it and I was like, this is this.
But they were like all people who knew each other.
Yeah, it was.
And the
different.
murderer knew him.
It was different. But I'm just saying, like the guy who wrote Scream said he wanted to like write this specific like whatever, and then he read about Danny Rawlings' murders, and he was like, oh fuck yeah, and then he kind of took his idea and changed it, but the inspiration for Scream came from this idea. So my guess would be it's the fact that this guy just walked around and stabbed women on a college campus.
And some of his, in the Scream franchises, some of the murders are pretty brutal. So yeah, I get that. But like
in the original Scream, is it just people on the college camp? I don't know. I've seen Scream like maybe one time. So I don't know.
And the news reporter and the cop. Like,
so yeah, well, I mean, you got to Hollywoodize it or whatever, but anyways, yes. So yes,
it's a slasher movie. So I don't know. I looked at college and slasher, and that's the first thing that came up. That's why I figured it out. But I don't know. I don't see
I feel like
tie
it's
that much.
Tell me,
I see it closer to the Idaho murders.
I was just gonna say, tell
Scream.
me though. Do you not think that there's a good fucking possibility that they were to like do like searching on fucking Koberger's computer, that they would see a bunch of research on,
or in his research papers or whatever?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they would see some Danny Rolling and maybe some fucking Ted Bundy. Yeah. So, anyways, Danny did actually write a letter. Okay, he wrote a letter. I don't know what the fuck for. It just showed me part of it. He wrote a letter, and in part of the letter, it stated, I assure you, I am not a salivating ogre. Granted, times past, the dark era of long ago, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde did strike up and down the corridors of insanity. I don't even know what that means.
Okay, but
I'm assuming he
decapitated people and made them look at their bodies in a sexual position. You're way beyond Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
Right.
Hyde.
Well, and I think for him, what he's trying to say is like, I'm really not a bad guy. I just have some evil streaks. That's
you're absolutely a slobbering ogre.
Like, that's what it makes me think of. And also, how dare you degrade ogres? Like, Shrek was a sweetheart. Why the fuck are we trying to compare you to Shrek? First of all, Shrek's not murdering nobody.
Nah, bud, you're more like Lord Farquaad. A little short man syndrome going on there. For all my short kings out there. Yeah.
Anyways.
Fuck this guy.
He, okay, here's my final shot. He said, and I quote, I killed one person for every year that I had spent in prison. He spent a total of 8 years in prison. So he really did kill one person for every... He killed, because he killed the 5 kids, college kids, and then the 3 people.
But it makes you wonder if he said that after being caught. Like, if he would have never been caught, would he have done more, or would he have just been done with 8?
Oh, no, I think he would have continued to kill.
Oh, absolutely. So I think this is something he came up with, like, oh, I was in jail for 8 years. I had 8. Like,
or maybe that was just his running because he kept going to jail. Like, he kept going to jail. So had he not got caught for the murders, he would have got caught for doing some fucking robberies and other shit.
And then he would have looked at the judge and been like, it's up to you, bud. How many years? How many people are on your account?
But I mean, Yeah, I don't know. When I was researching this one, I'm not kidding you. When I pulled up because on the research it was like, oh, he killed them with a blah 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 knife. And I was like, that fucking knife sounds familiar. And so I clicked on it. I was like, oh shit. And then as I read and continued to read, I was like, wait a minute. I've heard this story before and it's very fucking similar. So to me, Kohberger, guilty. I've gone back and forth with the Kohberger thing. I can't figure it out. There's so many weird fucking connections, but at the same time, the Idaho Police Department is so fucking shady. Not because I know them personally, but the way they handled it. The judge putting a gag order on the whole fucking thing so nobody can talk about it. That's fucking weird. I don't know. The whole thing's just bizarre.
It's weird.
But regardless, that's not who we're talking about. We're talking about Danny Rolling. And I firmly believe that Danny Rolling did not only inspire the Scream series, I think he inspired the Idaho killings too. So there's that. Yeah, so that's Danny Rolling.
And that I agree with. All right, go ahead and follow us. All of our socials.
Uh-huh.
Fatal Blends.
Oh, do you
Find
want me
us.
to? I can tell you real quick. Nope, I can't. Okay. If you like what you hear on these episodes, I feel like I'm one of those.
You got the soft voice.
I know. I feel like I'm one of those, like a flight attendant. If you like what you hear on these episodes, and sometimes you might not like what you hear on the episodes, but if you like to hear my voice a lot, and if you like to hear Jay's voice a little, kind of a lot,
which is probably a hard no for people out there.
Follow us. Hit that follow button on whatever you're listening, whatever platform. If you hit the plus or the whatever favorite, you'll get updates every time we post a new episode, which is every Thursday, by the way. And if you want to interact with us, go to Facebook and follow or ask to be a part of our Facebook group, which is Fatal Blend Podcast. It's a Facebook group. We would love to chit chat with people. Tell us what you want us to talk about. Maybe you have some thoughts on the episodes, or maybe you're like, hey, you fucking told that story wrong. Let me know. I'll fix it, because I am not perfect.
If you're having a drinking game and for every time we say follow, you take a drink, here you go. Follow.
Yeah, you guys are doing good. Honestly, I can't complain. We definitely have repeat followers, repeat listeners. We're international. I can't ask for much else. And no, we don't get paid to do this. It's just a lot of fun. So I'm really having a good time. And thanks for listening to our episodes. This was officially episode number 33, which is so crazy because the fact that we're in the 30s, like, seems so far off.
It's crazy.
Anyways, I think that's all we're going to talk about for now. So until next week, I'll say goodbye.
And I'll say bye-bye.